Why does it feel like everyone across the country is getting sick? Hey, what's up? My name is Schuyler Diehm. I'm the founder of Reach Fat Loss and Fitness. We take a holistic approach to fat loss and fitness. We've helped our clients, as of recording this video, lose over 3,000 pounds, which is incredible. And today we are diving into my sickness protocol. About 2 weeks ago, I got extremely sick, got whatever was going around. I lost my taste, lost my smell, so that kind of tells you a little bit about it. And I have a very straightforward approach to becoming healthy. And I see a lot of people do the very opposite of what's going to help them not only move through the sickness quicker, but also improve the immune system, come out the other side stronger so that they have a less likelihood of getting sick future. And so I wanted to create a video, talk a little bit about my protocol, talk a little bit about my mindset, keeping in mind that the goal is I want to be healthier and I want to move through the sickness as quick as possible. So that's what we're going to get into today. Before we dive into it, we are all things fat loss, fitness, holistic health. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of the community. But with that being said, let's get it. So when I think about my sickness protocol, I have 3 different parts per se. One is as I'm beginning to feel like I'm about to get sick. 2 is when I'm in the thickness of the sickness, when I'm not feeling good, when things aren't going well. And then 3 is actually after the sickness. And this is a piece that a lot of people tend to forget about or miss. And it's very, very important to navigate. So before I get into these 3 phases, there's 2 things that I don't do when I'm sick. Number 1 is I don't take what many would call medicine. I don't take the Dayquil, the NyQuil. I don't take the prescriptions. I don't take the things that are meant to suppress the symptom. And that's really what they are, right? When you take something like Dayquil or NyQuil, you are suppressing cough. You are suppressing congestion. You are suppressing the things that we label as bad and that are typically the most uncomfortable, but are actually there to help. That's a big, big mindset shift. When you're sick and you have a fever, you want to let your body exhibit that fever because the heat is what's killing the bad bacteria, killing the things that you want to get rid of. When you have a cough, you're working on clearing things from the lungs. When you have mucus and you have snot coming out your nose, coming out your mouth, you're working on getting rid of that bacteria. And so when you take things that suppress those symptoms, yes, in the moment you may feel a little bit better, but you're actually setting yourself up to either be in that sickness longer or come out of that sickness with a less strengthened immune system, which can lead you to more sickness in the future. So that's the biggest thing. That's number 1. I never take those things. I let my body experience those things. I use natural remedies to help kind of push myself through it, which we'll get into in a little bit, but do not take the medicines, do not take the prescriptions, just let my body fight it naturally and give my body what it needs to be stronger at fighting it now. The second thing I don't do, which a lot of people make the mistake of, is push through the sickness. Meaning in those times when my body wants rest, I rest. I rest hard. I cancel my calls. I clear out any exercise. I literally just rest, and we'll talk about a little bit of movement that I do, but I see that a lot of people who are especially type A do this is they feel like they need to push through it. They need to keep going to the gym, hitting it hard. They need to keep grinding at work. Maybe they'll cut down on sleep, and we just don't want to do that. We want to let our body have the rest, have the energy necessary to fight the sickness. And so that's another big thing is like you have to give yourself permission to rest, especially if you're type A. That can be uncomfortable. That cannot be a good thing, but you got to give it to yourself. You got to allow your body a chance to rest. With that said, we're going to get into the 3 stages. So the first is going to be as you start to feel the sickness, as you feel something coming on. Now, when I'm in this state, there's a couple things that I do. So first and foremost, I just make sure to take care of my body. I get enough adequate sleep. I make sure I prioritize sleeping enough, getting to bed on time. I make sure that I really hydrate. I make sure that I'm eating whole, real foods. I'm not going to the sugar. I'm not going to the inflammatory oils, the processed food. That is like the baseline of taking care of my body. Along with that, I have 2 specific focuses. So one is just moving my body more, but in a much less intense way. So typically walking is just my go-to. Getting outside, ideally in the sunshine, and just moving my body. Rebounding can be very good as well. I don't have a rebounder here, so I don't typically do that. But what we're doing is we're moving the lymph fluid, which is part of our immune system. It's there to help fight whatever's going on inside the body. So what a lot of people do is they just sit on the couch. They just want to rest as much as possible, or they go do crazy intense HIIT workout or weightlifting workout that's super super heavy. We want to be right in the middle there. We want to move our body, move that lymph fluid without absolutely crushing. The second thing I do is I have a sauna and ice bath protocol. And that protocol is get in the sauna as long as I possibly can. We want to raise the heat, raise that internal body temperature to fight whatever's going on, right? It's like a self-induced fever. And then the second thing I do, depending how I feel, is a cold plunge. And the purpose of the cold plunge is we are increasing the white blood cells in the body. Now, if you're pre-sickness, but you're really not feeling good, that's when you have to listen to your body. Sometimes it's a good idea not to do the cold plunge because the cold plunge is a stress. And if your body has the stressor of fighting the sickness, and now we add another stressor of the cold plunge, that cannot end up good. And so we want to listen to our body, but if it's just coming on, I'm starting to feel a little bit off, but it's nothing crazy yet, I will hit it hard with the sauna and I will get in the cold. And then finally, just helping the body's immune system with some supplementation. My two recommendations, if you can get like a liposomal vitamin C or just have citrus fruits and then zinc as well, these can be really good ways to help boost the immune system as you get into this. All right, so you've given your body rest, you've given it supplementation, sauna, cold plunge, you've treated it right, and now you are still in the sickness. This is where things change a little bit. So there's kind of two parts to this. One is the very beginning when you're in it. Two is kind of when you're in the middle and you're in it. But big part of this is supplementation. I hit my body hard with supplements right at the beginning of the sickness. I use Spartan bee bread, I use honey, I use oil of oregano, I use silver solution, and then I just have a bunch of other supplements that sometimes I'll just pull from. But the idea is I really want to strengthen the front lines of my immune system, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to supplement while doing that. Along with that, same things apply of making sure I blast myself with the sauna. This is where I definitely avoid the cold plunge when I'm in it, is because I wanna make sure that I'm not putting an unnecessary amount of stress on my body. We're keeping the sleep, we're keeping the real food, we're keeping the walking. I'll typically bundle up in my sleep as well so that I can raise my body temperature even more to just sweat it out, allow my immune system to kick in. And then along with light walking and sunlight, once I transition into really being in the sickness, this is where I actually shift over to fast. So it will kind of depend. During this last sickness, at the beginning, I didn't have an appetite. And so I just fasted. I had lots of water. I didn't have any food. Without needing to digest, my body can now put that energy healing into fighting the sickness, the bacteria, virus, whatever it is, into strengthening the immune system. But then when I got a little bit into it, then I started to be hungry. This is where bone broth really plays a key factor. So you can take it either way. You can do a light bone broth fast where you're just having water and bone broth and that's it, because you're providing your body with nutrients, you're giving it protein without the heavy digestion of foods. Or you can take it and have a little bit more sustenance, which is like a homemade soup, which is what I did this past sickness. So you have bone broth, you also have a bunch of veggies, and then I put a little bit of chicken in there as well. Same thing, it's kind of, you got to feel it out. If you're not hungry, lean into the fast. If you're hungry but you have a lot of energy, lean into the bone broth fast. If you're hungry but you're feeling sluggish and you really want some more food, have like a homemade soup that you mix bone broth, veggies, saute them first, and then put them in there with the broth, the chicken. Find an easy online recipe and just make sure you're using real food in there. But that is the biggest part. And then during that time period, I'm just resting. I'm walking for that light movement, but I'm not working out. I'm not working my job, working long hours. I just give my body a chance to rest, relax. And if you do this correctly, your body's gonna move through the sickness much more quickly. So you hit it hard with supplements at the beginning, then you give it a break from everything completely and let it fight. And then you hopefully get over the sickness quickly. And this is where the after portion comes. And this is really, really important. You do not want to go from resting, recovering, to jumping immediately back into a difficult route. What I suggest, and this is how I respond, is I meet my body where it's at. And typically how I do this with my workouts is when I do those first 1 to 3 workouts, I typically do full body workouts and I just do like 3 sets for each body part. And I give myself like a 30-minute time limit at the gym. I'm not going my full 45 to 60 minutes. I'm just doing 30 minutes. And I'm choosing about like 50% of the weight that I normally do. So if I'm using 80-pound dumbbells, I'm choosing 40-pound dumbbells. And what I'm doing here is I'm going through the motions. It's still a little fatiguing, but it's nowhere near a hard workout. And I'm allowing my body to start to adapt to get back. Because what I've done way too many times is I've gone right back into it at 100%. And then what do you know? The sickness wasn't fully over and I start to get sick again. Or I'm a little bit worn out and that time period is fully. So coming off of it, you want to be very, very kind to your body. And the most important part here is the mindset of just giving yourself grace, allowing yourself to have time where you're not in the gym or where you're not pushing super hard or where you did lose a lot of strength, and just being okay with that, understanding that that's part of the process. Because if you're coming off of it and you lost a bunch of weight and you're weak and you don't feel good, being hard on yourself is just going to amplify that, and we want to avoid that. So that is it. That's my sickness protocol. I posted on Instagram and I got a couple questions about it. So number one, someone asked me if you should rest or do forced activity. To me, it's right in the middle there. Rest, but get some light walking and some sunshine if possible. And then the other question I got was if I prefer tea or water. I prefer tea during sickness. Obviously, water is really important too. Don't just drink tea, but if you can get a couple cups of tea while you're sick and then obviously fill in the gaps with the water, that's going to be helpful. And then the last question I got was about total calories during while I'm sick. I do not count calories. I don't worry about it. If I lose weight, I lose weight. I'm not here prepping for a bodybuilding show where I need to stay on top of things. This is a lifestyle for me. And so I'm going to give my body a little bit of opportunity to rest. If I lose a bit of weight, that's okay. I'm going to gain it back. I'm going to gain the muscle back after I'm done, but just giving myself grace during that time period. So with that said, if you have any questions for me about my sickness protocol, how I handle things, how you should handle things, leave them in the comments. Also, if you are looking for guidance, coaching, support, if you are on a fat loss and fitness journey, we have fat loss plans and we also have fitness plans. So if you're working on losing fat and building muscle, or you're just working on building muscle, we can help you. If you want to see what that looks like, you can head down in the description of this video, click that link to apply for a consultation chat. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please stay healthy as we get into the next couple months. And of course, as always, make sure to eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.